The entire time I knew him, he only ever had one goal. To wipe out half the universe. If he gets all the Infinity Stones, he can do it with the snap of his fingers. Just like that.
Tell me his name again.
Thanos.
We got one advantage. He's coming to us. We have what Thanos wants. So that's what we'll use.
Let's talk about this plan of yours. I think it's good, except it sucks. So let me do the plan, and that way it might be really good.
Wow.
The end is near. When I'm done, half of humanity will still exist. Perfectly balanced. As all things should be. I hope they remember you.
I'm Peter, by the way.
Doctor Strange.
Oh, you're using your made-up names. Then I am Spider-Man.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, species around the universe, welcome to Geek Syndicate episode 297B, Infinity War Spoiler Edition. You have been warned. I am Monts, and this is...
I am Nuge, aka Thanos the Mad King.
You don't really know.
No, I'm not.
Because if you were, you'd want to destroy half the podcast hosts. And as there's only two of us, I have a feeling I know who it would be that would get it.
So, as Mont said, this is going to be the spoiler-filled version of our Infinity War reviews. So, this is your chance, right? If you've clicked onto this by accident, stop now. If you want to know what we thought about Infinity War without spoilers, go and listen to the previous episode and you're all good to go. But if you want to really get into the nitty-gritty of it, you've seen the film, you've come out, you want to, you know what I mean, you really want to get into it, then keep listening, people.
Yep. So, where do we start, man?
Let's break it down. So, right, first off, the one thing to take away from this film is it don't waste, for a 2.5 hour movie, right? There ain't no flab. It don't waste no time.
No time. Do you know what? I did not notice the passage of time.
No.
I did not. Yeah. Even movies I enjoy, I kind of notice, it's going a bit long now. But this one, nope. Didn't notice it.
They always talk about, we always say, it was a great film, but you could have done with shaving 50 minutes off there, would have been all good and blah, blah, blah. By the end of that, when you get to the end of that film, right, I was sitting there going, man, couldn't you give me another 20 minutes?
Do you know what? When it finished, I obviously thought, I couldn't believe that was the end. So I kind of thought, there must be about another hour left.
Yeah. I was the same. Because it got to the stage where I thought, given what was going on, I thought it was going to wrap up in that last section. Yeah. So you got the bit where Thor does the move with his axe. Right? Yeah. Comes in and he's just like, boom, in the man's chest. I thought he was done. Yeah. Right? And then when Thanos... I thought that was it. I thought that was it. And when Thanos goes, you should have gone for the head, right? And then sort of clicked his fingers. And then basically you had the little scene with Gamora and stuff. I thought Gamora had gotten through to him. and he hadn't done it.
Yeah,
because he clicks and then he's gone, and everyone's like, where's he gone? Where's he gone? And because it was done really well, because everyone was still there.
And that's the thing. So he clicked his fingers. Now, all along, we've known that what he said is, when I've got all the gems, I'll click my fingers and half the people in the universe be gone. And he clicked his fingers, and part of my brain is going, yeah, but it didn't work. It hasn't happened. He didn't really do it. Not really processing what was going on. And then when people started disappearing, my brain was going, no, what's happening? It took me a little while for it all to match up in my brain. And it took like the second or third person. I was like, oh, wait, it's worked. And then, oh, wait, that's going to be half of everyone in the universe. Holy, what? And I think we just looked at each other with our mouths open. And you just went, I've got nothing.
And I even woke up this morning and thought, I still got nothing.
Likewise.
I was like, I just sat there thinking, he's won. I think what was really great was it wasn't about him becoming some all-conquering, I'm going to take over the universe and sit on my throne and rule over everyone and blah-de-blah-de-blah. It was like, I'm doing this because I believe this is the right thing to do, and I believe...
But it's like you thought, because so Tony Stark says to him, or was it Strange? I can't remember. Says, what are you going to do when you've won? And you kind of think, you kind of think he was like to trap him, goes, I'm going to rule. And then he could like question his moral compass. And he goes, I'm going to sit, watch the sunset. Like, I'm going to rest. Like, oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
It's like you're not power drunk. You've got a...
I'm not saying he did some horrible, despicable things, but even when you backtrack, even the way he fought people, it was about getting from A to B. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And you know what? And if people crossed him, he didn't really go for revenge.
Yeah, he just took them out. He took them out. You're right, he didn't, because there's quite a few times I was kind of thinking, why has he left him alive?
He's just like, I guess, I understand my child.
Yeah. It's like, I got what I wanted. I've come for the gem. Those people in my way, so I had to take them out. You were in my way, but to be honest, I've got other things to be doing. I don't need to waste my time.
And it was like, he's like, but also his rationales again. He said, when he offered on Titan, he offered the people a choice, a solution. And he goes, it would be fair. It would be random. So rich, poor, alike, no one spared. It wouldn't be that the rich people get spared and the poor people die. It would just be totally random.
Yeah. And I think you kind of got that with what happened at the end, because some heavy hitters got taken out.
Man!
We're sort of backtracking. What I want to say is, like I said, the pace was relentless. And some people can say it's a 2.5 hour battle or cosmic war. It's like, yeah, but that's what it was. This has been the setup for a cosmic war.
It's kind of in the title.
Yeah. And everyone was, when I say everyone was bringing their A game, as we talked about in the non-spoiler one, not just from an acting perspective, but their characters and the powers that they've got. Everyone was bringing their A game, and the amount of teamwork in this film was off the chart.
Yeah, wasn't it just?
And I've got to say, some of my big scenes were the cosmic bunch. Because there's a sequence where it's what I'm saying about Doctor Strange, man. And I think it's because it was an origin film, so I never really got to see Doctor Strange, that kind of confidence, that kind of arrogance, that kind of I'm the smartest magical dude in the room guy, And I'm a tactician as well, which is what I always got from Doctor Strange, which is why he ran the defense and stuff. There's a piece at the end of the film where he kind of faces Thanos, and Thanos kind of walks up to him and he's like, you've made a mistake because you're facing the master of the mystic arts. I was just like, that's Doctor Strange. And let me tell you, when he pulled out some moves, when he pulled out that move where he kind of went into like however many hundreds of versions of himself.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Now, I've seen that done a lot of times where people kind of split themselves up, but the way that he kind of brought that spell in when he was just moving his arms, and suddenly there was like 20 arms, and then all of a sudden he just split up, and all of them was firing at him. I was like, nah, this film is money.
Yeah. And even what was was that move when he kind of like Thanos sent a blast at him, and he caught it, reflected it, and kind of sent it back at him, and it turned into butterflies.
Yeah.
And you can see Thanos is just bracing himself. He's like, "Hey, what?" It's like he's totally confused. It's like,
and what I liked was every time he got a gem, it was like end level boss gets leveled up.
Yeah.
You know, and it was quite clever the way every time he got a gem, he then used it to take people out, so you could see what the power was of that gem. You know, and
that was the most gutting one when what's her name, Gamora asked Star-Lord to kill her, and it took him everything he had, and he pulled the trigger and let bubbles come out. You're just like, oh, damn.
And the thing is, people laughed, but people didn't laugh for very long.
No.
You know, and just the whole relationship between the two of them, Thanos and her, you know, really like rounded his character.
Yeah.
Because he genuinely cared about her.
I know.
So when he had to kind of like throw off the cliff to get the Soul Stone, and can we just say, like, Red Skull, what the hell?
It's just like,
what the hell? Do you know what I mean?
Man, and that was just one moment at the end of the movie where he touches the Tesseract and just, and you just think, you don't think any more about it.
No. That's what you call investment, right? Because I didn't see that. But what I liked about it was, from a story point of view, it fitted. It wasn't just a cool cameo. It fitted, you know? Amazing. So, going back, before we talk about the end, but going back, in terms of entrances, Captain America.
Yeah, Captain. Yeah, because that was just like. Oh, actually, can we go back? Can we go back?
Yeah.
Just to give context. Let's just talk about the quality of the villains. Because I'm not talking Thanos. I'm talking about Thanos' boys and girls.
Yeah.
Because they set the tone for what the heroes pit themselves against. So were they worthy villains?
Top notch. I mean, they weren't. In terms of character, they were your bog standard villains.
Yeah,
there weren't much nuance to them. You know what I mean? And I don't necessarily think they should have been, because they were Thanos' crew.
Yeah,
they just had his back. Do you know what I mean? I didn't really need them to have the nuance.
They were fanatical about him.
But what I liked about them was any one of them could have been a big bad in an Avengers
in themselves.
Do you know what I mean? That was the level you were operating at. And each one of them on their own was giving a group of heroes problems.
Yeah.
You know? And like you said, when they turned up, the pace was just relentless. And all the Avengers, and it was a lot of back foot stuff for the Avengers. Man was just trying to get out of Dodge.
Yeah,
because
pretty much.
The first fight you really get, which is in New York, where you got Doc Strange, you got Wong, who I would have liked to see more of, but
we'll come back to that, because he did
his business. I've
got something to say about that.
I'd like to see more, but that fight was kind of just about getting out of Dodge.
Totally.
And what I found really interesting was the fact that, and obviously it was done purposefully, was the fact that the Hulk, other than right at the beginning, was not used in the film.
No, that was interesting.
And I've been thinking about this afterwards, and I think the reason, because he kept saying he's hot, and he just wouldn't come out. And I think the reason is that really and truly the Hulk has never been beaten before.
No, it took the words right out of my mouth.
And he got beaten, like he got beaten like nothing.
He got his ass whooped.
Right. So in terms of setting how powerful Thanos is, there was no better way to do that. I mean, we've seen Thor taken out. We've seen Thor being taken out before. Do you know what I mean? But not Hulk.
But it's always been a battle.
Yeah, it's always been a battle. But Hulk stepped up to him, and Thanos was just like, all right, man. And he worked him.
And there's that bit where, like, like the guards went to intervene, and like the Thanos' boys like, no, let him have his fun.
Yeah. Oh, because he knocks him down, doesn't he? He gives him some licks like normal Hulk style, and then they go to rush him, and fans like, no, it's cool, man. Don't worry about it, man. All right. You've had your licks. Now it's my turn. And and after that, you never saw Hulk again.
No.
Which I thought was cleverly done, and they never really made a big, They didn't try to engineer some scene where he's able to talk to the Hulk and Hulk's like Hulk afraid. There was nothing like that, but you knew as a viewer, you kind of got a sense that was what was going on.
Yeah.
So what are you going to say about Wong?
See, I was like, there's a lot. So there was a moment where Wong is standing there and he's got a portal open and he says to Banner, he goes, what are you going to do? And he goes, I'm going to make a phone call. And I had a feeling like Wong was about to go about his own business. You know what I mean? There's other wizards out there that, from the other sanctums, etc., etc. Mm-hmm. And I thought they would have a part to play, and they didn't. And I'm like, to have Wong in there like that and not use him, they must have a role. The wizards must have a role in the next film.
Do you know? Well, it's interesting because what some of the critiques have said is you saw very little of, like, Captain America didn't really get a lot of.
No, I did notice that
screen time, but what the Russo brothers have said is that's kind of going to get handled in the next film, because obviously this is a 2-part film.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So I think what they're going to do is because Tony Stark got a lot of airplay.
Yeah,
but I think quite rightly, and the fact he was the only one who actually drew any kind of blood on Thanos.
I just love that, all that for a one drop of blood,
because Tony was working. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it was really good because the whole premise of Iron Man 3 was how messed up he was because of Thanos and the whole space thing.
Yeah.
And he said it. He's been in my head for 6 years.
Yeah.
So that Tony had so much, went to town with him, just seemed kind of fitting. That was Tony's ultimate story arc.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you kind of almost go, everything he's done since then, making all these different suits, building bigger and bigger suits, and then that's all because of this. And that's the only reason he was able to last that long.
Yeah, it was all about preparation, because he brought out some tools. Like, he brought out some tools, I've got to say. But yeah, going back to, we then go around the world with this Thanos' group of this sort of team, trying to get hold of the Infinity Stones on Earth or whatever. And I just kind of liked the way when they hit Vision and Wanda, it kind of come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It was quite a nice, sweet scene. It's like, oh, come on, let's go. And then all of a sudden it was on. And again, Wanda bringing that A game. But when Captain America, Black Widow, and Falcon rolled up, man, I nearly jumped out of my seat.
I know.
When you just heard the dun-dun, and the Cap just comes out of the shadows with a beard, and I'm just like, it is odd. You know what I mean?
I mean, the thing is, my prize to entrances has to go to Thor's really pissed now entrance.
What, is that on the battlefield?
Yeah, and he turns up with his new axe, and he just looks vexed, and it just comes in. What an entrance, man. Axe comes flying through, taking people out, and like Banner's like, "Oh, you guys are in trouble now."
When you come in, and and the things what I loved as well is like, because 484, unless he's busting the cloak in my book. So when you come in and he's got his cloak and he's got like his rockets with him and Groot's with him, you're just like, suddenly you're like, the fight's on. But what I was saying to someone today, what you realised is when some of these characters come together, you suddenly realise as a viewer that they've actually, within the context of the stories, they actually haven't seen each other in a significant amount of time.
No, yeah, that's true.
So it's like when Banner comes back to New York, and then he's kind of like, you need to get Cap on the phone, and Tony's like, yeah, well, can't really do that because we kind of had a falling out. You know, everything's gone to shit. The Avengers are broken up.
I love that line. He's like, what? Thanos is coming. It doesn't matter who you're talking to. On
basically, get your priorities straight, you know? But even when Thor meets up with Cap on the battlefield, and they're kind of,
I see you've copied my beard.
yeah, and at the time I laughed, and that was one of the moments I was like, oh, that's, humor wise a little bit, but then actually it's that kind of, it's battle banter.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All I was wishing that I didn't get, man. I wanted that kind of Warriors grip with a kind of grip forearms. That's what I wanted, man. You know what I mean? Steve.
The other thing I'll say is they did it, but more or less they kept it to a minimum. Was the superhero nod? Because like you watch any CW shows, and literally you could turn looking at each other and nodding into a drinking game. And I was like, yeah, let's not overdo that, because it's just like, I can't remember what it was I was watching. I was like, all right, let's just count the nods, and it was just ridiculous, man, ridiculous. But
go on.
What was I going to say? We talked about Thor's entrance. Let's talk about Wakanda and the Wakandans for a moment.
Sum up the Wakandans in one word: prepared.
And ready. They're ready for action.
I think there's a line that Bucky drops where he just goes, I love this city. It's something like that. He's like, I love this place.
If it's the dome, and he's just like, this dome comes up, he's like, I love this place.
I was going to say, but again, you see the scale of what's ranged against them. And what I loved was the creatures that they've got to fight. They're not, they're just they're mindless beasts. They're there to destroy and ravage. So when the fighting starts, there's no cool little punch here, punch there. They just got to take them down.
You just got to keep going.
You got to keep going.
And these battle-hardened warriors are struggling.
Yeah.
And it's just that bit when they look at it and the gate opens, and Jabari, the leader of the Jabari tribe, he's like, this is the end of Wakanda. And the general's like, then it will be a glorious end. Then it will be a noble end.
The woman did it.
Yeah.
That was a line. This will be the end of Wakanda. Then it will be the noblest end in all of history, or something like that. And I was like, wow. But what I liked is the only reason they did that was to buy time for one operation to get done.
Yeah, which didn't get finished. And Shuri, who's Black Panther's sister, who's doing the operation, they break into the lab. She takes one look and goes back to her job.
Yeah.
And I'm like, girl, damn.
And just relied on the people to cover her back.
Yeah.
Also, this film had so many little moments that I know by the end of this review I will have missed like 200 of them. But there's a little piece where they're all running to the Wakandans are running to engage. Right?
But the thing is, that's what, number one, before you get there, just say what I loved was these maniacal beasts are just invading. And the Wakandans, they don't hold them back. They're just like, okay, we'll run to our deaths. But they were running full pelt.
Full pelt.
And now you're going to come with your bit.
And then you see Black Panther is chipping, right? So he's ahead. And then all of a sudden, you just see Captain America coming. And the two of them are just like, stride for stride, up front, dig it up. And what I quite like is obviously they've been sped up because obviously they are both enhanced.
Yeah.
But the way they do it, you just sit back and go, that's man dig it up. And then when they get into it, two of them are like back to back, like they've fought side by side since they were kids. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nah, it was. And even when they go recruit Bucky, it's like it's time for the White Wolf to come out of retirement or something like that. And they just bring him his arm. Do you know what I mean? I was like,
I know what it would do. It brings he just looks at the arm and go, "Where's the fight?
Where's the fight?" No, I'll tell you. And then you got the. I just try and pick up my high points. You had the fight with Black Widow, the General, and Wanda against one of Thanos' generals, effectively, which was the female general. And even though you know this woman is really, really powerful, the minute you see the three of them, you just think, boy, you just walked into a world of hurt.
Yeah.
World of hurt. But it's just amazing. What was I going to say?
Dunno.
The post credit.
Yeah.
So what I quite liked about the post-credit scene was that it actually began to reinforce what Thanos has done on a wider scale.
Yeah, that was good and needed.
Because we saw obviously our favourite heroes kind of dropping like flies, but then that final kind of post-credit
seeing it affect the normal world.
Exactly. And seeing basically planes falling from the sky and shit, you're just like, oh, that's when you suddenly realise, oh, it's half the Earth. He's wiped out half of the Earth.
Yeah.
And then you see Nick Fury and you see Maria Hill and I thought it was just going to be her. And Sam Jackson would still be there with some one-liner, and it's both of them.
Well, he got his one-liner, didn't he?
Yeah.
Mother.
But I think, it's last-ditch effort.
But also, that's it. That's what I love, is that it's like, he's got no time to, he got no time for nobody else. He knows he's got to get to his pager.
Yeah.
And he's just like, he sees what's happening. No time to mourn, no time to do nothing. Got a job.
Yeah.
Got to get to that.
Yeah. And, Captain Marvel then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I want to talk about, so what we said in the non-spoiler was this idea of the way the characters work together. And I thought putting Doctor Strange and Iron Man together, whoever thought of that in the writer's room, genius.
Was genius.
Genius. Because
it
wasn't just the fact that they would constantly argue because you've got two massive egos in the same room, right? You've literally got personified that classic clash of science,
technology versus magic. Yeah,
between the two, classic, and it was done brilliantly. And then putting Spider-Man in the middle of it, who dropped. I thought Spider-Man was wicked in it.
Talk about proving yourself.
Yeah, and just that little bit where Tony kind of goes, "There you go, you're an Avenger." You see him stand up a little bit straight,
stand up a little bit taller. Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was brilliant. And then putting the two of them together with the Guardians worked. I can't say any other word for it. It worked because actually Tony Stark is always like the wisecracking, funniest man in the room, and the Guardians just wiped the floor with him.
Yep.
To the point where he couldn't even drop lines. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And some of the Guardians nah. And then you put Rocket on paper, putting Rocket Raccoon and Thor. That shouldn't have worked. That shouldn't have worked as good as it did.
Should never. It was, and it did. It was awesome.
It was awesome. And
yeah. And then when your dwarf turns out to be a giant dwarf, no one made a thing about it. It was just great. No. It was just great. And it just goes, you know what? What does it take to kill Thor?
Yeah.
But that was great because that made you go, if anyone could deliver the killing blow to Thanos, it's Thor. Exactly. So when it happens, after that, when it happens, it makes you go, that's it. Job done.
Job done. Yeah.
Which is why your brain kind of disconnects when that's not the case. And it just takes you a few seconds to go, what's happening?
Yeah. And I think, to take a moment, the fact that the film opens with the death of Loki and
gatekeeper dude
Heimdall.
Yeah.
Before credits even rolled, they're gone.
Do you know what I mean? I was like, what?
You're like, what?
I was like, you're in for a ride then. You know what I mean? It's just like,
you kind of know.
What?
Because that's heavy hitters, man. That's heavy hitters to take it out.
And I like that. It just uses the last of his power to send Hulk back to Earth.
Yeah.
But then you just want like all the characters from like Valkyrie from Thor Ragnarok. I thought she might be in it. I thought she might have a significant role to play. Is she dead or?
Well, he did say that they only killed half of the. Did you say half?
He said half.
Yeah.
Because half of the Asgardians are dead.
Yeah.
Still a fair amount of people.
But then that doesn't make sense to me because they blew the ship up.
Good point.
So not sure. But I think we've seen the last of Thor getting his own movies anyway. So I'm just trying to think now what else happened.
I don't know, but I'm still processing the movie. I'm still processing the ending. It was not something. So basically, you got me on tenterhooks for an entire year.
Yeah. I mean, they pulled, and this is what annoyed me about the fact they went to such great lengths to tell us not to spoil the film. And literally, I've seen reviews where their headline has started, well, this is the Empire Strikes Back of whatever. Right there is telling you.
Yeah.
Right there is telling you.
You know how it ends, because we all know Empire Strikes Back was the villains winning.
Yeah. So it's not even just the fact, it's going to end on the cliffhanger. It's the fact that it's going to end with effectively the villains have won. And I thought it was going to end on a cliffhanger. But then the more it got closer to the end, the more I actually thought, oh crap, they might actually wrap it all up in one film.
No, yeah. And also, when that happened, when it happened, I was like, oh, because I hadn't been aware of the passing of time.
Yeah. I
honestly thought there must be another half hour left.
Yeah.
Because I thought, it's not going to end there. Of course it isn't. Oh. And also, I had no idea it was going to be like a 2-part film. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't planning for that at all.
Yeah. I mean, as endings go, I mean, that's brave, man. I don't care whether or not they're able to get out of it. I'm talking about what's in front of me. And to end like that, where effectively the bad guy has won. Not even the fact that the heroes are kind of a bit down for the count. We've got to, rally ourselves in the next movie. He's won.
Yeah.
He's literally killed not just half of the Avengers. He's killed half of the universe. Half the universe is dead, out of existence. Okay, yes, we've got a nice, leaves effect, but they're dead. Make no mistake. So, have you given any thought to how they're going to get out of this? Because I've got some thoughts there.
I've got nothing, mate. So I obviously, there's going to be some people involved we ain't seen yet. So I reckon Hawkeye's going to be back. Ant-Man's going to be back with the Wasp. Captain Marvel's going to make an appearance. I reckon Wong and some of the sorcerers are going to make an appearance. Mm-hmm. How they're all going to work it together, I've got no idea. Mm. One of the few people who's beaten Thanos is Squirrel Girl in the comics.
Oh, you said that, yeah.
Yeah, just thought I'd drop that one in there.
Thanks, man. Sure. So there's a couple of thoughts I had. So thought one, we know, right? And this is what I mean by this is my Doctor Strange, yeah? Doctor Strange was strategizing all through that film.
Yeah.
And I loved the fact that when Thanos finally caught up with him and ripped what he thought was a time stone, it was a fake.
Yeah.
And the fact they made a big thing about Doc Strange saying to Iron Man, just so you know, I would do everything I can to protect the time stone. You know what I mean? Even if it means sacrificing your life, I ain't giving it up. And the fact that he gave it up to save Tony's life, to me, it's a double bluff.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good line.
It's a double bluff.
But also, and before he left, he said it was the only way.
Exactly. He didn't say sorry or nothing like that. He just said this was the only way. And it's the fact that we had that scene where he had seen every possible future and only one and there was only one in which they prevailed.
Mm.
I reckon.
So because of that, and this is where I got screwed, because of that, I thought the only way to get this was to give him what he wants. Mm-hmm. So in his head, I thought he was going to be trapped in that they'd done something to trap him in his own head. So he believes he's won, but he hasn't actually really won. Mm-hmm. And then in the end, you just look at his body and go, oh, why is he smiling? Because he believes that it's all done.
Yeah.
Like in reality. But that's not what happened.
Sure. No, he won.
Yeah.
So it's got to be something to do. In my head, the only way they can get out of this is either time travel or somehow they got to rebuild the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah. They've got a template back at the place with that forge.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the only, you know what I mean? But someone made a really interesting comment. I can't think who said it now, but they said, in Ant-Man, right, you know how when he falls through, you know, at the end of Ant-Man where he kind of falls through, if he keeps shrinking, he falls into like another dimension where time and space don't mean nothing and blah. And then someone dropped this line, like, yeah, but what if Ant-Man goes so far back and he then hooks up with Captain Marvel in the past and Nick Fury? And I was like, on one hand, I was like, that's a way out there theory. Another hand, I said, if they drop that, that would be cool. But I don't think they will, because I don't think Ant-Man and Wasp is set before this.
Yeah.
And that's why, this is where I think that's going to be a weird film to watch. I think I'll enjoy it, do you know what I mean? But just knowing what's gone on, I feel this should have come out before Infinity War. I was wondering if whether or not the post-credit on Ant-Man and the Wasp is going to basically play catch-up to where they are in terms of Infinity War.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe,
absolutely.
If it doesn't happen in the film itself.
So as far as I can tell, there's 2 movies before the next Avengers film, which is the Ant-Man and the Wasp and Captain Marvel. And Captain Marvel set in the 90s. So that's not going to interfere with this at all.
No. I think... this is what I'm saying, you know, this isn't me going off on DC, but this is me kind of going off on all of these...
That's what I wanted to say, but go on.
All of these companies that are trying to build, like, franchises and universes and, like, Marvel... These people have got it so on the money that they have a post-credit scene referring to Captain Marvel, which is going to come out. And basically, that post-credit scene is, get me Captain Marvel because she's the only one that's going to be able to sort this shit out.
Yeah, that's right? Some next-level planning and strategizing, man.
And that's and that film is going to come, I think, before the next Avengers film.
And it's interesting because it was like Captain Marvel movie. Yeah, I'll be interested to see that. And now I'm like, yeah, no, I've got to see that.
Because I think
that was just genius.
Because what will happen now is they'll drop her origin story, right, in the 90s. That's all cool. But now you see that film. So when she then comes in Avengers 4, and she could be running the show to a certain extent, you're gonna buy straight into that because you've seen her film.
Yeah,
I'm genius.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, because with DC's plan doesn't seem to be a plan. Let's do this one now. All right, then should we do that one? Yeah, all right. And I'll tell you what, and so I'm talking as an old school DC boy, and I'm rooting for DC movies to do good. I loved Wonder Woman. I ain't got too much of a problem with Batman versus Superman. There's huge problems with it, but I'm not slating it off like a lot of people are. What's my point? So here was the thing. I watched Justice League, and I was jonesed for Justice League. After Wonder Woman, I thought, okay, they're getting the game on now. Mm-hmm. And while I didn't hate it, the most I could say was I was disappointed. Mm-hmm. And I was disappointed because I don't think there was anything essentially wrong with it, but it was just another superhero group movie.
Yeah.
With nothing to make it stand out. And I've seen loads of them. What I said to you, and actually when I did a Facebook Live after seeing it, I said what I would have liked, just to give it something different, we could have done Doom Patrol as a group movie, because that would have been very different. Mm-hmm. Whether it was sold or not, I don't know. But what you could have done to make it different was go back to the original 1960s Justice League format, in which the group split up and they worked on their own piece of the problem. They were all working on the same thing, but in different places, doing in their own risks, all for the same thing. And I said, if they'd done that, gone back to the original Justice League format, that would have been something different, something great. And this movie that didn't need to do that, because it's already established, went and did just that.
Yeah. And the brave thing about it is this whole film, certain characters never met up.
Yes.
They would just do it. They would just eat, because you had your boys, you had the team holding the fort down on Earth, and you had cosmic people. You had people on one planet somewhere. You had other people on another planet somewhere. You had Thor doing a quest to get his, magical weapon to kill Thanos. And a lot of these threads never intersected. The common thread was Thanos.
Yep.
And trying to stop him from, they weren't even like, so Captain America, Black Panther, Black Widow and all that lot had no idea what Tony and Doctor Strange were doing.
Yeah.
None.
Or even that they were involved in a fight.
Yeah, exactly.
All I knew was that Tony was missing.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And that's brave, you know. And given the fact with Civil War and how that ended, you would expect at least in obviously there's going to be some sort of resolution maybe in the second film, but you would have expected them to have at least had one scene together.
Yeah,
it's slightly uncomfortable, but we got to kind of put aside our differences. But it's almost like there's too much at stake and too much going on for them to even have that.
Do you know what gave me a little bit of thought of was your book.
Oh, what, Fallen Heroes?
Yeah, because what you had is a bunch of heroes, and you think, well, at some point they've got to come together, and they came together only to split up again. And I was like, what? That's not what meant to happen. It was genius. It was genius because you know what? They all had different jobs to do, so they had to go off and do it. Job done.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time going, that's amazing. That's amazing. And this was reminiscent of that, except that there wasn't a point where they all came together. I just took it one step further.
Yeah, yeah. But still, that I have to say, for that ending, the cinema was just, when it faded to black, you know, he sat down and it was like,
could have dropped a pin in that cinema.
You could have dropped a pin.
And the cinema was rammed. There wasn't even a standing space.
No.
And it was silent.
No. And then people did applaud and cheer, and whatever, but there was
it was shell shock. It was shell
shock because you were kind of like, nah, they can't have ended it like that. And it's so you get that you can't have ended it like that, and then you get that I've got to wait a year. Now, the thing is, I was trying to think about the last time we had something like this, right? And the thing, people can talk about Lord of the Rings, but most people know what happens in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
The only cliffhanger is the fact you've got to wait a year for the movie, but you know what happens in the story. You know what I mean? And I suppose to a certain extent, yes, you can say it with the new Star Wars films, but I don't think the two new Star Wars films have had that level of a cliffhanger. No. You know, they're quite self-contained in terms of where they end up. Probably I hope people can help me out and pick newer films, but I remember the second Matrix film ended with Neo in a coma.
But that was kind of spoilt by the fact that it was so convoluted.
Yeah.
You were kind of busy trying to work out what happened, let alone what was going to happen next.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a decent cliffhanger, but it was kind of mitigated by other circumstances. Yeah. So something else that just had me straight up going, the hell? Yeah. I can't think of.
For me, I've only if I go back, I end up going back as far as Empire Strikes Back. Just in terms, I think of the sheer emotional gut punch at the end of that film, where you find that, you know, you literally...
And that's it. What else has had that gut punch? Yeah. That's a good way of putting
it. Luke finds out his dad's Darth Vader. They barely escape. Han's been taken. Do you know, we don't even, you know, he's barely alive. He's been taken back to Jabba the Hutt and they couldn't rescue him. They've barely got out by the skin of their teeth. And that's how, and that's, you know,
proper back foot stuff.
Proper back foots, and the rebellion has suffered like a major loss. Do you know what I mean? And you're kind of like, I don't know where you're gonna go with this. And to me, that was this, but on a I don't like to do comparisons, but on a bigger scale, because I can't emphasize this enough. He's killed half of the universe. That's how the film's ended.
He won.
He won.
I suppose the last person who won on that scale was the Emperor from Star Wars.
Yeah. And all he wanted to do was balance the universe, because give people...
He literally wanted to give a better life to the survivors.
Yeah. And I thought it was really interesting when he talked about where Gamora grew up, and she was like, you slaughtered half my people and blah, blah. And she said, and he was like, yeah, but when I turned up on your world... people were starving and blah, blah, blah. And he said, look at them now. They're thriving. They're this, that, the other. Now, obviously, genocide is not a popular solution.
It's not a popular tool.
It's not a popular tool or solution. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and what I find really interesting was everyone was saying to him, "You're crazy, why would you, you know what I mean? This is evil, it's madness." And he's basically just saying, "But maybe I'm just the only one that can see this is what needs to be done." And you actually felt that it everything that he did bothered him.
Yeah.
And when it got to the end, and I think someone sort of said to him, I think it might be when he saw like the young Gamora, and she was like, you know, was it hard? And he was like, it's been so hard.
Yeah, it was, what did it cost you?
That's it.
Everything.
And you got a sense, even his own crew that got taken out, you even got a sense that he was bothered by their loss.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, not only just Gamora as well, you know. I thought that scene where he threw her off the whatever was... You felt for him, and you're like, but this is the villain. Nah. So, I mean, there's not much else to say, really, other than it was one heck of an experience, and I'm glad I got to see it. I'm glad me and you got to see it together, and I'm glad I saw it before...
any spoilers came out.
Any spoilers and all.
As I said to someone today, this is not a movie you want spoiled.
Yeah. And the debate. I'm glad I've seen it before the inevitable debate, because I remember when the Last Jedi came out and the critics all raved about it and they thought we're onto a winner here, and then everyone else went to see it and then it just split down the middle. And I don't know. I honestly don't know what this film will do. I don't know what the overall reaction will be to this film. I know what my reaction is.
Yeah,
that's a damn good film.
What I'm really the biggest struggle I've got is that I'm living in a house with someone who hasn't seen it.
Yeah, likewise.
And I can't talk. It's like I just can't even. I just want to go. It goes, yeah, but it's a good film. This is a spoiler, but Hulk is scared. Like you can't even say that. Yeah. You know what I mean?
All today, I've just been like 8:30. Right, I can get to talk about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why I was texting you. We still on for tonight. And I was like, more than any other time, if you turn around and said I can't do that, I'd be like, no, I can't hold it, man.
No, I know, because like I said, I got the kids in my own tonight, and it was a bit tiring. Kira was a bit whatever, and I thought, I don't know if I got the energy. Usually, I'd be thinking, I don't know if I got the energy. That didn't even cross my mind. It's like, Yep, I need to. I just need to.
Yeah. This whole thing that you always talked about was how much you love when you get the teamwork.
Yeah.
There was some serious teamwork. That piece where you had the Winter Soldier and he picked up Rocket. And they were both spinning around shooting.
Yeah, I meant to talk about that.
Get some. Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wish reviews would stop starting with does it live up to the hype?
Yeah, just does it matter? Did you like it, dude?
Yeah, did you like it? Did you enjoy it? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I read one review, I think it was The Guardian, so I should have known really. And it ended with like, he obviously enjoyed the film, and it was kind of like, you know, I know this is silly. Do you know what I mean? As in, I know these films are silly, but I was just like, why can't you just, do you know what I mean? Why can't you just say you just enjoyed the film, just leave it at that?
Yeah.
Well, you got to kind of like, because it's The Guardian, I've got to say, do you know what I mean?
No.
It's just, you know what these films, but as I said, I just thought for me, this was a comic book movie.
The thing is, did you go in, did you enjoy it, and did you feel?
Yeah.
That's all that matters. Yeah. If you felt something, then it ain't silly.
Yeah. There's also some stuff in the trailers which weren't in the film.
I've only seen one trailer, so I'm not really sure.
Well, there's a big bit. One of the biggest things in the trailers is where you see Cap, Bucky, Black Widow, Black Panther, and the General AD running towards the screen, and the Hulk's there.
Oh, good point.
The Hulk's running with him, and obviously he went in it.
Good point. Yeah. And that looked good in the trailer as well.
It did. You know the bit where Cap grabs Thanos' glove?
Yeah.
I wish, if I could turn back, if I had my own time stone, I would turn back time to have not seen that in the trailer.
Yeah, I know. because they didn't do anything with it more than that, and they didn't need to.
No.
And it would have had so much more impact if I didn't know it was coming, because I knew it was coming, you expected something to come out after that, like Cap get killed or Thanos to actually do more than just raise an eyebrow, something. No, exactly. Really. This is why I avoid trailers, man.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. I do agree with you. I do have to say, though, when... I know he's Captain America, but because when Thanos thumped him, I was like, how are you getting up from that? Forget the fact he's got cosmic power, just the size of the man's fist.
He did just go down, though. He went down like a ton of bricks.
I think it was that last bit where he was walking to get to Vision, and everybody was trying to stop him, and he didn't even break a sweat getting to Vision.
Nah, he was on
I'll
it.
Turn back time with you. I'll do this to you. I'll do that to you. I'll just thump you. Nah, wow. I was just, and even though,
but tell you what, to give Wanda her due when she was trying to destroy the jewel and thing, she held him. She held him,
man.
She held him.
That's what I quite liked, was there were people in there that held him at bay that you weren't necessarily expecting.
Yeah.
And even that bit where you had that coordinated attack on him between Doc Strange, Iron Man, and like the Guardians.
I love that. Spider-Man's like, I've got you this way, I've got you that way, I've got...
But it's the fact, and it's that moment where it was a great plan. Do you know what I mean? Just hassle the man enough, and then get him pinned down, and then bring in my girl to do the sleep thing, Mantis, and she's like, I can't hold him, and they're trying to get the glove off, and it was like, don't let him distract you. Start whatever his name is, Quill. Don't let him distract you. But it's like he just gone too far, couldn't help himself. And I think the thing was, it's kind of like there's a part of you, and what I quite liked was you saw the glove was almost off his hand.
Yeah,
right. They were that close to saving the day, and he just couldn't hold it because, you know what I mean? He's killed the love of his life. And it's like, even though at the moment you're thinking, oh, fucking hell, man, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
You understand. You understand the rage. It's uncontrollable. You know what I mean? If that had been, you know what I mean, my wife, your wife, someone's loved one, a mum, a dad, you get it.
Yeah. Try and do the right thing at that moment.
Yeah, money.
This is armchair people who say, yeah, should have done this. Yeah. All right.
And I'm sure there will be. There was a lot of little emotional beats in this film, you know. So, but
yeah. Nice one, Russo brothers.
Yeah. Well done, man. Well done.
Just, do you know what summed this up for me? That film was unexpected.
Yeah.
I just did not expect that resolution. There were so many beats I did not expect. It is just on the line, not just in terms of characters, but as the structure of the movie was just on the line as well.
And even the fact that you were able to take Groot, who spent the whole film pissing about playing video games.
Yeah, right at the end.
And right at the end, because he realised, so all of a sudden it was like he realised the stakes. And just did that move where he basically made the handle for the axe out of his own arm, when he chopped his arm off. I was just like, they're just missing the trick. And I think you're right. I think there were characters who didn't get those same emotional beats.
Yeah.
And hopefully second film. But
yeah.
All right, man. So that's it. Obviously, if this is the first one that you've listened to and you haven't listened to our non-spoiler one, we should still do ratings. So our ratings were 5 out of 5, wasn't it?
5 out of 5. I got at this moment, and you know what? It may change. Things often change given time and space. Yeah. But as of this moment, I can't think of anything I didn't like about the movie.
No. I think they used the characters to the best of their ability, given the amount of characters they had to juggle.
Yeah. I thought I'd like to have seen a bit more Falcon action.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have.
But, you know, there you go.
Well, as I said, I'm looking at this now. Now that I've seen the whole film, I'm looking at this as half the story.
Yeah.
So my
absolutely.
reservations for certain characters that might not have been given enough airtime, blah blah blah. I'm like, there's a whole other film, 2.5 hour film on the way. So and they filmed them back to back. So you know, roll on next year, man. That's all I'm saying. Roll on next year.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Round us up, buddy.
So that's it. Yeah, we gave it 5 out of 5. Perhaps you disagree. So if you do, let us know, and let us know why. You know how to do it. Geek Syndicate, the geeks at geeksyndicate.co.uk. Don't forget to check out the website, geeksyndicate.co.uk. Find us on Twitter, find us on Facebook, find us on Instagram. And until next time, Geek Syndicate, we out.